Hey guys, I'm Angie Viets and I'm a clinical psychotherapist specializing in eating disorder treatment. Today I want to talk with you about something that really helped transform my process and journey in recovery, and that is journal writing. Since I was a very little girl, I've been writing in journals. I remember having the little locks on them with the secret key and hiding them. And that really sort of evolved as I grew up, and journals just sort of became this really safe place for me to unload and download all the feelings I was having, where I could just sort of have this safe space to say all of the things that were most heavy on my heart. And over time, I realized that one of the single most effective tools in my recovery from an eating disorder was writing in a journal. I realized this later looking back when I saw that I had just stacks upon stacks of journals that I'd been writing in since I was very young. And one of the things that I think was most profound for me about journal writing was my ability to, through writing, connect to the deepest part of myself, of my soul, of really my essence. And for some of you, that might be through drawing or meditation or something else entirely, maybe dance. But for me, it was through writing. And I want to say that it wasn't because I was such a beautiful writer that everything that I was writing was so poetic. I was really just putting all my emotions out there and putting them into the page. And by doing that, I was then able to move on and sort of release a bit of myself on those pages. Oftentimes I wouldn't know what to write, so I would just sit down and I would start with that very thing. I don't know what to write about. And then I would just really start writing about random things like, well, today I went to class and I felt insecure because the boy sitting next to me was sort of a jerk or something like that. And then just sort of by the act of moving my hand along the page, I was able to start connecting to a deeper part of myself. And then sometimes, not every time, but sometimes I was able to really connect with some core struggles that I was having and even find solutions that felt far more beneficial to me than if I would have just sat there and tried to conjure them up myself. So I really would love it if you would consider buying yourself a beautiful journal. Some people like to just have a spiral notebook. I personally, because I'm super girly and like pretty things, I always like to buy a new journal and kind of have a fresh start. I brought one journal that I have right now. It says, "Let Your Soul Shine." And the pages are just really pretty with little flowers and things, so it makes me kind of already just in the mood to connect with that deeper part of myself. And then I would just make it a non-negotiable activity. So maybe every morning when I got up and was having my morning coffee or something, I would just sit and write for 20 minutes. And again, no pressure. Nobody's ever going to read it. It's just for you. Sometimes people like to do it in the evening to sort of release all that's gone on throughout their day or something that's been heavy on their heart. With my clients in my psychotherapy practice, they will often bring in an entry and read it to me. And, sometimes their thoughts are kind of disorganized and all over the place. And I often tell them that's okay. This isn't a term paper that you're handing in for a grade to a professor. This is just for you. I wanted to tell you guys about two resources that I really love to get you started on journal writing if this is a new process for you. One is a new author. Her name is Katie Dalebout, and she has a book called Let It Out. I think it's called Let It Out, A Journey Through Journaling. And what I love about her book is she's really young and fresh and has really great ideas. And she's also recovered from an eating disorder. She has a really cool podcast that you can also listen to. And I just find her to be very inspiring. So I'll put a link below to her book, which I think that you'll really like. Another author who I think her book just came out in 2016 is June Alexander. And her book is called Using Writing as a Therapy for Eating Disorders, The Diary Healer. And I'll also put a link to her website below. And what's amazing about June is that she developed an eating disorder when she was very young, years and years ago, when eating disorders just really weren't talked about like they are now. And she describes her experience of really having a chronic eating disorder for many years and how her life has transformed in the middle and later parts of her life. And I just think she is infinitely wise and has so much to teach all of us. So I hope that you'll check out both of their books. I think they give you really unique perspectives on each end. And then just to close, one of the things that I tried when I was in the very early stages of recovery is I was reading the book by Julia Cameron called The Artist's Way. And in that book, she describes morning pages. And what she prompts you to do is every morning to get up and write 3 pages. Doesn't matter what it's about. You could be writing about how god-awful your hair is that day, but just to write 3 pages every day and to see if that is an effective process for you. So try it out. Try your morning pages. Give it a chance. If you see that there's resistance about it, just know that that's normal. It is for all of us. We always think that there's other things that we could be doing that's more beneficial. And just on a final note, I do have a lot of clients, especially my younger clients, who will journal in the notes section on their iPhones, and they find that really to be helpful too. So there's a lot of different ways to get your feelings out, express them, and to help create a little bit more space inside of you. So I hope that you love this idea as much as I do. I know that journaling was just truly transformative for me. So all the best in your recovery. I'm thinking about you guys, and feel free to follow along on social media and be inspired there as well. Take care.